Hi, this is a short video on the reflection for Writing Lab 2 in English 103 and 105 this spring semester of 2021. I want to take a minute to talk about that project in relation to our course. So we're coming up on the end of Writing Lab 2. I'm speaking near the end of March. People are finishing in groups their annotated bibliographies, but I've also made an assignment for reflection, so I wanted to walk through that assignment with you. So here's the Writing Lab 2 folder, and you'll see that in addition to these various posts, there's a Writing Lab 2 reflection, which in general is a topic report where you're summing up the main findings and reflecting on the research that you did with your group. So this is an opportunity to speak about the research that you did in your group and the sources you annotated. And it is a formal graded assignment due. Here I set at month's end, but I've made the date April 6th, so a week after the end of the month and a week after your group turns in its annotated bibliography. And the date, I think, is different in English 103 than 105, so we'll check at that. I'm in my English 103 class, so if I come in to the lab and where you've been working, I come down to the Writing Lab 2 reflection, and in English 103 it's due on the 6th. In English 105 it's due on the 8th, so don't let that throw you off. So the Writing Lab 2 reflection is due before class on the 6th or the 8th, depending which class you're in. And it's another 4-page essay like the first reflection, 1,000 words or more. And instead of giving you 4 questions to think about, I have 3 things I'd like you to reflect on. Right, so you can do this in whatever order you like and to whatever degree makes sense to you. So you can emphasize or de-emphasize any of these 3 points accordingly, but I do want you to address them all, and to me it will be interesting to see what you choose to emphasize. So one aspect is, what are 3 key takeaways from your group's research and why do these matter? So think of this in terms of the research project. As you move from the annotated bibliography, when we get to Writing Lab 3, you're going to be writing a critique of sources, 2 sources. So what are 3 key takeaways for you from the work that your group did, the research and reading that your group did? Right? What are things that stay with you? Now, 3 is a magic number. If you only have 2 key takeaways, or if you think you want to have 4 takeaways, that's fine. If you really think there's only 1 important takeaway, I suppose you can make a case for that. So I'm using the number 3 advisedly. Secondly, discuss a connection that you made or witnessed or can otherwise describe between the concepts from other classes and or the concepts from our research and reading. What is that connection? All right, what is the connection? How does it work? And why does it matter? So this is asking you to work with the concepts from other classes and or the concepts from research and reading. And what connection did you make, or what connection did you see others make? Or what connection did you find? And why is it significant? Now, maybe it's significant for your research, or maybe it's significant just because it's interesting to you, and we don't know what the connection is. That's okay. Excuse me. And then the other piece is really a proposal. Discuss the sources you are considering examining more closely for the final paper in Writing Lab 3, which is a critique of sources, authority, argument, concepts, and significance. So this is an essay where you will conduct a contrastive critique between 2 sources on the topic your group researched in Writing Lab 2. So this is the analytical part. And so, what 2 sources will you choose? Will they both already be in your bibliography? Will maybe one of them be from the bibliography, but one of them something that either didn't make the cut or that you're going to look for? Right? Or maybe you're going to say, I'm going to take my best piece of scholarship from the bibliography and I'm going to put it next to the page in Wikipedia on my topic so I can analyze them to see if the Wikipedia page is any good. That's one way that you can do it. Right? So will you take 2 sources from the Anno Bib, or one of these plus another source, scholarly or not? Or will you do something else? And we'll talk about some options, but what do you propose as we move from March to April? And explain why you might take this approach, spelling it out in a paragraph or more. And again, maybe this is just a small part of your 4 pages. Maybe it's a bigger part of your pages. Right? So think about this. So I'm asking you, what are key takeaways from your research in your group? What's a connection you can make among the concepts? and what's a proposal you could make for the final piece. 1,000 words, which is usually around 4 pages, sometimes 3.5. I do want this to be a formal essay. So you want to give yourself time to think about it. And I'd like you to think about it right down to the level of the title. Title it, include the word reflection in the title, and give it a subtitle. And I've given you some examples here. For example, Writing Lab 2 Reflection, : the value of framing as a concept. So I have title, subtitle. Or Reflection on Writing Lab 2, : structure and significance. And you can see the other ones are just models for you. But we want the word reflection to appear in the title. And we also want a subtitle that indicates your focus, right? That tells me as a reader, what am I getting into? It also helps you think about your emphasis and what it is that you're asking us to see. You want to remember to revise your reflection. So don't just crank it out the night before. Don't crank it out on April 5th when it's due on April 6th. Don't crank it out on April 7th when it's due on April 8th. You know, you want to take some time, in that week before it's due to sketch it out. And I would encourage you to seek out a review. In fact, I am encouraging you to seek out a review from a fellow student or a tutor in the Center for Reading and Writing, or from me, right? Come to my office hour, make an appointment with a tutor, or say to a fellow student, hey, I'll review your reflection if you review mine. Remember, one of the pieces that I'm looking for in your final reflection for the course is a peer review. And so this is an opportunity to do that. We'll have other occasions for peer review as we go forward into the final unit of the course. Right? So you do want someone to look at it before I'm grading it. Fine if that person is me, but it shouldn't just be when I'm grading it. I'd like you to run it by somebody. And remember, I made comments on your Writing Lab 1 reflection that you want to keep in mind for this one. If I was asking you to elaborate on things, or to explain things, or to pursue things, keep that in mind as you're developing your reflection this time. Also keep in mind, there may be editing comments I made in the first reflection for you to think about in the second reflection. Remember that you want to edit it carefully, and remember also to save your reflection as a PDF before you submit it, and in this location in Blackboard. And if you do a review of someone else's reflection, put that in writing and share that with me. You could email it to me, or just remember to include it in the portfolio for the course. That would be enough. And all right, so where are you going to submit this? So if you click on the title of the document I've just been reading, right, you'll see the due date, and that due date is wrong, so I will fix it. And then you see, here's the assignment, and I'm asking you to, I suppose that you could copy paste in here. I would not write a submission online. You can't save, you can save things, but I wouldn't trust it. You could black out. I would write it offline, and then I would attach a file, and remember, I am asking for a PDF. All right, I hope that's useful. We'll talk about this next time we're together as a class.